Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show.
On a beach in the sand, I think of you. I think of you. Did you realize I love you all my life? And when you're gone, I'm all alone.
Welcome back. I am the spiritualist in Curt Williams, author, metaphysician, hermeticist, all of this and that. So today, lately I have been telling stories, and the reason I've been telling these stories is because they all have a spiritual component and synchronicity to them. It's like the reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to show you that the same things that happened to me, you guys can relate to, because everyone has a story like mine, where their spirit has tried to talk to them, tried to tell them something, tried to work with them. Either you listened or you didn't. You know, the truth of the matter is, every single thing that happens to you in your life, you are cause and creator of it, and it's your spirit that's trying to get you to help you learn from each one of those single events. So I was going to tell the last story I told was very interesting. YouTube show number 63, and I was encouraged to keep that up because it was quite entertaining. So I prepared another such story, which, as far as all the little stories of synchronicity and spirituality, this one is by far the most outstanding event. Well, it's not the most outstanding. I can't bring myself to talk about the most outstanding. However, this one is very interesting. It involves everything that you can think of in a Hollywood script. I mean, mayhem and just anyway. But I decided not to do that today. I decided not to do that because I was talking to an individual, and she was explaining to me that people that she's around seem to have the same kind of life mission right now, and that is to help people, which is very admirable. And it is actually the reason why I began to do this show. Not necessarily to help people individually like that, but to raise the spirituality of people. And that, in so doing, that would help people. Raising people's spirituality is the only thing that's going to at least make the near future palatable, easy to digest, because it's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of madness going around everywhere, and the higher your level of spirituality is, the easier it will for you to be able to deal with it. Now, I know that the best way to raise spirituality in people is number one, teach people how to communicate with their spirit. I am a spiritualist. The reason I say that because I'm one of a few. By definition, what a spiritualist is a person who understands where this voice is coming from and exactly what this voice is. What this voice actually is that you are hearing is actually who you really are. And when I say really are, this particular unit will only exist in this lifetime and not in the next. It will be another. So the one that will remain is the spiritual one. So that's the one that's real, not the interchangeable one. It's the real one that's forever. So once you realize that this is your primary aspect, and you in this life here, you're going to want to do a lot of things that you're taught to in this world to do. You're going to want to do a lot of things that your brain tells you to do, and you're going to learn philosophies from other human beings. And that's not quite where you're supposed to be getting your information. You're supposed to be getting your information from here, because this has all the information you need. When we start using the things that we're using, especially now with the internet, well, that's not really the best place to get information from. It's right here. I'm a spiritualist because I have given permission for my spirit to tell me exactly what to do. It's not about me anymore. I don't look around and say, ooh, what am I going to do today? What am I going to get into? What am I going to create? It's always, what do you want me to create? We communicate on the level now to where I understand exactly where I'm going with all this. And so today I just want to reiterate exactly what we're doing here, my purpose of being here. In order to raise the level of spirituality in people, what we must first do is raise the spirituality in ourselves. What I'm saying is, before you begin to help people, be of service to people, if that's your number one goal, you must first get your own stuff in here together. If you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to be a very good teacher for somebody else. If you're not completely secure in what your belief system is, you're not going to do. And let me talk about, see, I criticize religion a lot simply because of one reason. I know for a fact that if we keep going towards this pace, life will not improve. Religion, as it is said today, has been here for 4,000 years, since what religion believes is the beginning of mankind, which it is not. So for 4,000 years, we've been working on the same principles, and they seem to cause chaos and war. The reason they do that is the reasons being because the way I described how Lucifer himself told Jehovah, if I can't be a god, I'm going to take over this whole thing. And so Lucifer did. So that's why religion is the way it is. When I criticize religion, understand that I am not talking about all the wonderful and beautiful things about the book. The wonderful and beautiful things about the book is what makes the book so wonderful and beautiful. I'm not talking about the good, I'm talking about the bad. And the other number one thing I'm doing is I'm representing the Creator. And that is the most important thing for me to do. If once you tell your spirit that you want your spirit to lead the way, what you're saying is that this spirit of yours is directly connected to the source. In other words, you have the creator of the universe and then you have your spirit, and then you have you. The way it's set up today, you have the creator of the universe that's connected to your spirit, and a whole bunch of things in between your spirit and you, like religion, like dogma, like prejudice, like all kinds of negative things that are between you and your spirit. Your spirit is trying to fight through all of this drama to get to you, because we insist on doing what the things we've learned in church. Church is a wonderful place and a wonderful reason to get together, but some of the things they teach you in church is antithetical to creation. The word antithetical simply means it's the opposite. You have creation and then you have destruction. These things are antithetical. They're the complete opposite. So we know that the creator is by definition, creation is what he is best at. It is what he does. Creation is what he is. However, creation and destruction, antithetical. You have a heaven and a hell. These are oppositions. They're two opposing parts. And this whole yin and yang thing has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the creator is not schizophrenic. I talked to a person and I said, look, why would the creator create a mechanism? And in that mechanism, he already knows where everybody's going and prepares a place for them to go after they have done exactly what they were programmed to do. So basically, hell is a mankind kind of construct. I was on YouTube and I heard a pastor talking, and he was having trouble getting a loan for his church building, and somebody pulled him to the side and said, look, if you want to get a loan for your church, all you have to go is to this particular bank. You go to this particular bank, tell them you want to open up a church. They will give you a loan to build your congregation. However, in order to get that loan, you have to accept the doctrine that the bank expounds. In other words, your Jesus has to be white. Your Jesus has to be the one that you see in the current Bible, who is actually a nephew of a Roman general, Sergei Borgia. Da Vinci made a painting of him, and that's what they use as a standardized version of who Jesus was. This person has nothing to do with Jesus, but if you want to get a bank loan to open up a church, this has to be the person that you're worshiping. And a lot of the doctrine that bank, which is a religious right, wants you to basically learn, that's the only way you're going to get this loan. You're not going to get a loan and open up a church that is counterproductive to the organization that gave you the money. Therein is a problem. You have to know there is a problem, and greed is a part of it. Some people are so ambitious, I want to own this building and this church so bad that I don't care what I have to tell the people. And that's what happens. These are the things that get between your spirit and your brain. These contradictions, these pastors that are less than reverent. I'm not, and you know, I'm not putting down all pastors, just those of you who act up and you know who you are. I have cousins who are pastors, and they are wonderful people. However, there are a lot of pastors that are not so wonderful because these narcissists got in it for the wrong reason. When I was younger, I wanted to be a preacher. And I said to myself, when I become a preacher, I'm going to have the biggest church. I'm going to have hospitals. I'm going to have schools. We're going to be the biggest thing. And let me tell you, just by saying that, I was the biggest fool. If you want to open up a church for the reasons that I just said, talk about antithetical. You are really getting into it for the wrong reason. That's just greed and being popular. So if that's the reason you want to do that, then you're already on the wrong track. And then with the Bible, I have big issues about this whole the book never changing kind of thing. It's a provisional book. It should be the kind of book that as we add information to the things that we know philosophically, we should be able to upgrade and update. Not just the Bible being upgraded and updated once. Of course, in the Old Testament, God was a mean mother, shut your mouth. I mean, there was a scripture that said if your children disobey you, you take them to the center of town and stone them to death. God was just a freaking psychopath in the Old Testament. Told Abraham to kill. I want you to kill your son just to show that you believe and love me. Church people, that story right there ought to tell you about the God in the Bible. The God in the Bible wanted Abraham to prove something to him. The God in the Bible could not have been ubiquitous. Ubiquitous meaning he's everywhere all the time. Omnipresent meaning past, present, and future. You cannot be omnipotent and ask Abraham to prove to me your loyalty. An omnipotent God would already know what was in Abraham's heart. In fact, Abraham, the reason I know the story couldn't have happened because Abraham wasn't that stupid. Abraham would have said, you want me to do what? You must not be God. Because I know God wouldn't ask me some bullshit like that. I mean, I'm not trying to, I can curse a little bit because I'm not a pastor and I don't have to be reverend. So my whole point is Abraham was too intelligent to even believe that was God. That's why I don't like that story. It's antithetical. It doesn't make sense. God asking Abraham to show, when I said Lucifer took over the Bible, it's stuff like that. It's stuff like, I want you to prove your loyalty to me. Anytime you have this loyalty that deals with either you got to go do something crazy to somebody, even the born again Christian aspect that says we're going to heaven and you're going to hell. That's the Lucifer side of religion. How is the creator of the whole entire universe going to break himself down to a point where he's going to pick one little group on the planet Earth and say, I got all this, but the only people that's going to come and share all this with me is this little bitty group of Christians down here on this little tiny planet. The story is just insane. Born again Christians, I know you love the Lord. I know you want to do the right thing, but analyze your stories. Analyze how ridiculous the Adam and Eve story and the talking snake in the Garden of Eden. If you cannot break that story down logically, that means you're probably brainwashed. And in a society like we have today, it is a system where they want you to be brainwashed, because the more brainwashed you are, the easier it will be for you to get in line and behave certain ways. You had slavery simply because I heard a black man, he was talking about when slavery started and the first form of slavery, it involved Portuguese. Well, that's not true. Slavery has been around since the creation of mankind. Mankind was created to be slaves. However, mankind was not created by the creator of the universe. Mankind was created by the Elohims in the book of Genesis. And they created them to be a slave culture, a slave race. They weren't supposed to make them so that they look like them, but they did, which was actually a mistake. They were supposed to be making a subspecies. That's why Yahweh was so upset when Adam and Eve turned out the way they were. They weren't supposed to look like the Elohims, and they definitely weren't supposed to be able to procreate like the Elohims. That's why she was hiding behind this leaf apron. All of this information is in my book. In my book, I broke everything down from the Big Bang to the whole thing. The book will tell you exactly what Lucifer was doing. And I'm not mad at Lucifer because, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm representing the creator of the universe and Lucifer is mad at these Elohims, that don't have nothing to do with you know, with the situation that I represent. Common sense. Now, I'm not talking to the students, the ones that sit and listen to pastors talk. I'm talking to the pastors. Common sense ought to tell you, if you know enough about what God is, you know good and well Lucifer cannot battle the creator of the universe. I don't expect your congregation to understand, but you ought to understand. You need to stop teaching this. But it's a true story. But the only thing that makes this story true is, of course, Lucifer was not battling that. He was battling Jehovah. He was battling the Elohims for pretending to be gods because they made mankind. And that's why Lucifer took over the system. You preachers need to at least sit down to yourself and try to figure out, how is an archangel battling the creator? I asked somebody that was very intelligent. I asked her, what did the creator look like? And I expected her to tell me the same kind of stuff I've been hearing forever. But I was absolutely shocked by her answer. She said, the creator, he looks like you. And he looks like you. And it looks like everything else. I'm like, whoa, time out. Time out. Are you saying that the creator of the universe looks like the universe? Yes. I was like, wow. And this is somebody that I know doesn't listen to me. But I can see she kind of gets it. Somebody got her to figure this thing out. The creator of the universe is a piece and a part of everything. That alone should make you question hell itself. Because if there is a hell, he would be putting himself in it. So anyway, I was amazed by her answer, and she was absolutely correct. There are no words with something that includes everything. So if the creator is in everything, wouldn't he also be in Lucifer? And if that is true, then you got the creator fighting himself, which would qualify in modern psychology as a form of schizophrenia. If the creator is in everything, and a part of him is Satan, and Satan is trying to do all kinds of stuff, that's the same thing as a person with split personality. So now we're talking about the creator, which is perfect, by the way, is schizophrenic, because a part of him is named Satan, and Satan is sitting up here telling him. Now, he knew what Satan was going to do, but actually everything that Satan does, all the destruction, and the reason that Satan does all this destruction is so some of you religious people can figure this thing out. If you dug deep enough, you would realize that Lucifer cannot be fighting the creator of the universe. It's antithetical. It's contradictory. That's God fighting himself. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. So, if Lucifer is a part of God, Lucifer is not fighting himself. Lucifer's fighting something else. Now, Lucifer can fight something else all he wants to, because this one here already knows what the outcome is. All this drama with Lucifer and the Elohims and everything is so that us spirits can fight through all that drama and rise above it. What we have to do is understand that our spirit is connected to the source, to the creator, And actually, look at it like this. You have the creator, that's all things. Then down here, you have Lucifer. Then down here, you have the Elohim who created mankind. Then down here, you have us. Where if we're connected to the spirit that's connected to this, that means that our spirit can actually bypass Lucifer. Our spirit is more connected to the to God, or it's just as connected to God as Lucifer is. We have no reason to fear and be upset with Lucifer when our spirit is actually connected to a source much higher. It's connected to the, and so what we do is we go to church and we listen, we find out all these cult type rituals. Speaking in tongues is the craziest one. How can speaking in tongue make any sense? When we're talking about a creator that already knows what's on your mind, what your hopes and dreams, what you're trying to communicate. The creator of the universe knows what you're going to be trying to communicate 1,000 years from now. However long you exist, it already knows. And here you are going blah, 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 blah. What you think you're doing? You think you're impressing him? You're not impressing him. That means you don't understand your relationship with him. I took a tongue-speaking class at Fred Price's church. I'm not playing, I did. I took the class. The man told me that the purpose of speaking in tongues is that when you want to talk to God, there's a long line, and you get to go to the front. That's what a grown man told me, the purpose for speaking in tongues. And I'd like to ask some of you preachers, when you speak in tongues, what is your purpose? What is your purpose? You already know what the creator is. You already know you're connected to it. You already know it knows everything. What are you doing blah, 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 blah for? What are you trying to prove? You know it's goofy. Yet some of you teach it. It's almost like you're teaching things that makes spirituality and people digress. It's like you're asking them to be less than what they are. Instead of telling them you're connected to God, all you got to do is say, wave them, God, you know what I want. You got them going blah, 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 like you going blah, blah, blah. It's just goofy, and you need to stop it. And what I'm saying is you got all this fighting over who goes to the kingdom of heaven. We got to get past religion or we're in trouble. 90% of all wars that have ever been fought in this world has been because of some religious belief. I really think that the organization, what is the ones, the brothers with the purple on, the Hebrew Israelites. Massive numbers of all these men, they stand on street corners and read scriptures. And if you try to find out what they're really about, it's all about, we get to go to heaven first. It's about we get to sit in the front row. We're special. Okay, spirituality, nobody's more, I'm about to say more special. Nobody is special-er. How about that one? So all spirits are the same connection to God. There's no reason to rush to a place that doesn't exist in the first place. You guys look beautiful. You look strong. And if I had all you people understanding what I'm talking about, now that would be a beautiful thing. But instead of be fighting to say we get to go first, you'd be like, after you. Don't worry about us. We'll be in there later on. Y'all need to follow me. We'll pick a color, and I could be the spokespersona, and we will raise the level of spirituality to where everybody's invited, and it would be just a beautiful thing. I know that's not going to happen, and I know I need to end this episode. So thanks, everybody, for being here. I'll see you on the next show, and I will keep trying to raise the level of spirituality, even if I have to talk about pastors every now and then. Thank you for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
they're right there. Love me too.
Yes, right there. Yeah, right there. Right there.
Love me too.
Subscribe and put the like button.